News traveled fast in space. Within days of the Council's decision, every species in 3 sectors knew about humans and their strange relationship with poison food. The story spread through space stations, trade routes, and news networks. Some species found it fascinating. Others found it horrifying. But everyone was talking about it. Minho and Hana had become minor celebrities. Students stopped them in hallways to ask questions. Professors invited them to give lectures. Even the cafeteria staff wanted to know more about human cooking. "This is weird," Hana said as they walked to the common area. 3 weeks ago, nobody cared about us. Now everyone wants to talk to us about peppers. "At least they are not treating us like criminals anymore," Minho pointed out. They entered the common area, a large space where students from all species could gather. Normally it was busy but calm. Today it was packed. Students crowded around the central display screens. They were all watching something intently. "What is happening?" Hana asked a nearby Thraxian student. "You have not heard?" the student said excitedly. "A Critharian warrior has issued a challenge to humanity." Minho and Hana pushed through the crowd to see the screens. On display was a large humanoid figure with gray skin, red eyes, and impressive muscles. He wore warrior's armor and stood with the confidence of someone who had never been defeated. "I am Vexthor," the warrior announced. His voice was deep and powerful. "I have heard tales of humans and their tolerance for toxins. I have heard they consume deadly substances and call it seasoning. I have heard they are impossible to poison," the crowd murmured. Everyone knew who Vexthor was. He was famous across multiple systems as an unbeatable fighter. He had survived plasma burns, vacuum exposure, and direct hits from energy weapons. He was a legend. "Critharians are the strongest species in the galaxy," Vexthor continued. "We do not fear challenges. We do not back down from difficulty. Therefore, I issue this challenge to any human. Bring me your food. Your spicy, toxic food. I will consume it. I will prove that Critharians can match any human feat." The message ended. The crowd erupted in excited chatter. "Is he serious?" Minho asked. "He looks serious," Hana said. A message appeared on Minho's datapad. It was from Taehyun, the human diplomat. "Minho, Hana, I need to speak with you immediately. This has become an official diplomatic matter." 20 minutes later, they sat in Taehyun's office. The diplomat looked tired and stressed. "This challenge is all over the galactic news networks," Taehyun said. 3 different planets are offering to host the event. Betting pools have started. There is serious money involved. "Can we just decline?" Minho asked. "We could," Taehyun admitted, "but that would be seen as cowardice. It would hurt humanity's reputation. The galaxy is watching to see how we respond. So we have to accept," Hana said. "Someone has to accept," Taehyun corrected. "It does not have to be you two. We can bring in a chef from Earth, or a professional spicy food competitor." Minho and Hana looked at each other. They had started this whole situation. It felt wrong to let someone else finish it. "We will do it," Minho said. "But we need to warn him, really warn him properly." "I agree," Taehyun said. "We will make sure he understands the risks. If anything goes wrong, it reflects badly on all humans." 3 days later, the event was set. It would take place in the station's largest auditorium. Tickets sold out in minutes. News crews from 12 different species arrived to cover it. The betting pools had reached ridiculous amounts of money. Backstage, Minho and Hana prepared a meal. They had chosen carefully. Not something crazy hot, just a normal Korean dish that most Koreans would consider moderately spicy. Kimchi jjigae, kimchi stew with gochugaru chili flakes. "This is medium spicy by our standards," Hana said as she stirred the pot. "My grandmother makes it like this for Sunday dinners. Do you think he can handle it?" Minho asked. "Honestly?" "No," Hana said. "But we tried to warn him. They had tried. Multiple times." Minho had sent Vexthor detailed information about Scoville units and capsaicin effects. Hana had offered to make something much milder. Taehyun had even arranged for Vexthor to meet with medical experts who explained exactly what would happen to non-human biology. Vexthor had refused all advice. He was confident. He was proud. He was absolutely certain he could handle anything humans could eat. The auditorium was enormous. Thousands of beings filled the seats. Cameras floated through the air on hover drones. Medical teams stood ready with equipment. This was bigger than Minho had expected. Vexthor entered from one side of the stage. The crowd erupted in cheers. He was a hero to many species, a symbol of strength and determination. Minho and Hana entered from the other side. The crowd was more cautious with their applause. Humans were still new and strange to many people. A host stepped forward. She was a Veltorian with excellent speaking skills and a talent for drama. Welcome, beings of all species, to the event everyone is talking about. Today we witness a test of endurance, a battle of biology, a challenge between species. The crowd loved it. They cheered and whistled and made various species-specific sounds of excitement. The rules are simple, the host continued. Vexthor will consume a portion of human food prepared by these two humans. If he can finish the meal without requesting medical assistance, he wins. If he cannot, the humans win. Vexthor stepped to the center. I do not need rules. I do not need protection. I will consume this food and prove that Cretharians are superior. We really think you should reconsider, Minho said quietly. This is not about being weak. Your biology is just different from ours. I have survived things that would kill most beings, Vexthor said. I will not be defeated by food. Hana brought out the pot of kimchi jjigae. It smelled wonderful to Minho. Spicy, savory, with the complex flavors of fermented kimchi and gochugaru. His mouth watered, but he noticed several aliens in the front row putting on protective masks. A bowl was prepared. The stew looked innocent enough. Red broth with pieces of kimchi, tofu, and pork. Steam rose from the surface. Medical monitors were attached to Vexthor. His vital signs appeared on screens around the auditorium so everyone could watch in real time. Are you ready? The host asked. I am always ready, Vexthor said. He picked up a spoon. He scooped up a portion of the stew, making sure to get plenty of the red broth. He looked at Minho and Hana with confidence. Then he put the spoon in his mouth. For about 3 seconds, nothing happened. Vexthor chewed. He swallowed. He started to smile, then his face changed. His gray skin turned pink, then red, then purple. His eyes went very wide. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Vexthor, the host said. Are you all right? Vexthor made a sound. It was high-pitched and desperate, completely unlike his normal deep voice. The monitor showed his heart rate doubling. His body temperature rising rapidly, he reached for water. He drank an entire liter in seconds, then another. Then another. Water makes it worse, Hana called out. You need dairy. But there was no dairy. Cretharians could not digest milk products. They had nothing that could help. Vexthor's skin began producing gel. This was a Cretharian response to extreme heat, a way to cool the body. But it was not helping. The capsaicin was not actual heat, it just felt like it. The medical teams moved closer. Vexthor waved them away. He was struggling, but he was not defeated yet. He made sounds that the translators could not interpret. His species had never made these sounds before. Linguists in the audience were taking notes. Finally, after 5 minutes that felt like hours, Vexthor collapsed to his knees. He held up one hand in surrender. Medical assistance, he gasped. Please. The medical teams rushed in. They had prepared special cooling treatments. They administered them quickly and efficiently. Slowly, Vexthor's color returned to normal. His breathing steadied. The crowd was silent, shocked. They had just watched one of the galaxy's strongest warriors defeated by a bowl of soup. Hana spoke into the microphone. For the record, that stew was medium spicy. On Earth, children eat this. My 6-year-old cousin loves this recipe. The crowd erupted, not in mockery, but in awe. If children could eat this, what were adult humans capable of? Vexthor slowly stood up. The medical team tried to help him, but he waved them away. He walked over to Minho and Hana. I was wrong, he said. His voice was hoarse. I greatly underestimated you. Your species is remarkable. He held out his hand in the traditional human gesture. Minho shook it. You are brave, Minho said. Most beings would not even try. Brave or foolish, Vexthor said with a weak smile. Perhaps both. The event ended, but the recording spread across the galaxy at light speed. Within hours, everyone had seen Vexthor's defeat. The mighty warrior, brought low by human seasoning. Later that night, Minho received a message from Vexthor. It was simple but sincere. Thank you for the lesson in humility. I have new respect for humans. Also, I may never eat again. Minho smiled. He shared the message with Hana. Do you think this will change how aliens see us? Hana asked. Maybe, Minho said. They know we are different now. They know we are tough in weird ways. That is something. Should we tell them about chocolate? Hana asked. That it is toxic to dogs and many other species. Let us give them time to process the spicy food first, Minho suggested. They both laughed. Being human in space was strange and complicated, but it was never boring. Guards began helping Captain Yuna unload her cargo. Minho, Hana, and Capta the Galactic Council chamber was enormous. Representatives from 47 different species sat in curved rows that rose up like a theater. At the center of the floor stood a presentation area with cameras and recording equipment. This was where important decisions about galactic law and policy were made. Today the council was trying to decide what to do about humans and their food. Taehyun stood in the center of the chamber. He was a human diplomat, specially sent from Earth when news of the incident reached the home world. He wore a formal suit and carried a large bag of equipment. Behind him, a hover cart held several containers of various sizes. "Honorable council members," Taehyun began. His voice echoed in the large space. "I understand there has been concern about human dietary practices. Today I hope to provide clarity and context." A Veltorian council member raised one hand. "Diplomat Taehyun, is it true that your species consumes capsaicin mortalis regularly and willingly?" "We call it chili peppers, but yes," Taehyun confirmed. "And today I have brought samples of common human foods to demonstrate how we use these ingredients safely." A wave of concerned murmurs spread through the chamber. Several council members activated their personal shields. Medical teams moved closer just in case. Taehyun pulled out his first container. "This is kimchi. It is a traditional Korean dish made from fermented cabbage and chili peppers. Koreans have eaten this for over 2,000 years. He opened the container. Even from the viewing galleries, people could see the red color of the sauce. Several council members gasped. "The fermentation process takes several days," Taehyun explained. "During this time, beneficial bacteria break down the vegetables and create unique flavors. The capsaicin is distributed throughout the dish. It provides a spicy taste that many humans enjoy." A Thraxian council member spoke up. "You said fermentation. You allow bacteria to grow in your food?" "Controlled bacterial growth, yes," Taehyun said. "Many human foods use this process. It is considered healthy." "Healthy?" the Thraxian repeated. "You encourage bacterial colonies in your digestive system?" "Well, yes," Taehyun said. "Humans need bacteria to digest food properly. We call them probiotics," more murmuring. The medical teams were taking notes very quickly. Taehyun moved to his next sample. "This is tteokbokki, rice cakes and spicy sauce. This dish is popular street food in Korea. Children often eat this after school." "Children?" A Karelian council member stood up. "You feed toxic substances to your young?" "They are not toxic to humans," Taehyun said patiently. "That is what I am trying to explain. Human biology processes capsaicin differently than most species. We have a tolerance that developed over millions of years of evolution." He pulled out another container. "This is buldek. In Korean it means fire chicken. The name refers to the spicy sauce, not actual fire." "How much capsaicin does it contain?" asked a scientific advisor. Taehyun checked his notes. "This particular recipe has approximately 50,000 Scoville units. That is moderate by human standards?" "Moderate," the advisor repeated weakly. "Yes, some versions are much spicier. There is a challenge version with about 8,000 Scoville units that is quite popular." Taehyun paused. "I apologize, I meant 8,000 times the normal amount. That would be about 400,000 Scoville units total." A council member fainted. Medical teams rushed to help them. Taehyun continued. "He showed samples of Thai curry, Mexican salsa, Indian vindaloo, and Sichuan hot pot. Each dish contained multiple types of peppers and spices. Each dish was considered normal, everyday food by humans." "I notice a pattern," a council member said. "Most of your examples come from Earth's warmer regions. Why is this?" Taehyun smiled. "An excellent question. Capsaicin has antimicrobial properties. In hot climates before refrigeration, spicy food helped prevent bacterial growth that could cause illness. Many cultures developed spicy cuisines as a survival adaptation." "So you use one toxin to fight other toxins?" the council member asked. "Essentially, yes." A new figure stood up. This was Councillor Dren, the head of the Galactic Health Committee. She had attended all the previous hearings about human food. "Diplomat Taehyun, we have studied your presentations carefully. But I must ask about other substances your species consumes. Capsaicin is not the only concerning compound we have found." "You are correct," Taehyun acknowledged. "Would you like me to address those as well?" "Please." Taehyun pulled out a small plate with green paste on it. "This is wasabi. It comes from a plant root native to Japan. It contains compounds called isothiocyanates. When consumed, it creates a strong sensation in the nasal passages. You intentionally irritate your respiratory system? Counselor Dren asked. It adds flavor to raw fish, Taehyun explained. The sensation is brief and not harmful to humans. He showed them horseradish, mustard, and ginger. Each plant contained different compounds that triggered pain or irritation responses in humans. Each was used commonly in human cooking. And then there is alcohol, Counselor Dren said. Ethanol. A literal poison, Taehyun nodded. Yes. Humans have been fermenting beverages for at least 9,000 years. Beer, wine, spirits. Alcohol is consumed socially and in moderation by many human cultures. Why? A council member asked. The question was simple but profound. Why do you do these things to yourselves? Taehyun thought about his answer carefully. Humans seek new experiences. We are curious. We push boundaries. The sensation of spice or the effects of alcohol, or the complexity of fermented foods. These things make life more interesting. They bring people together. They create culture and tradition. You trade safety for experience, the council member said. We do not see it as trading safety, Taehyun replied, because these things are not dangerous to us. They are just life. They are part of being human. Counselor Dren looked at her fellow council members. This presents a unique problem. We have laws about biological hazards. We have regulations about food safety. But these laws were written assuming all species react similarly to dangerous substances. Clearly that assumption is wrong. Agent Rixtar, who had been observing from the side, stepped forward. May I speak, Counselor? Please, Agent. I have spent the last week investigating human food practices, Agent Rixtar said. What I have learned is both frightening and impressive. Humans are not trying to cause problems. They are simply being themselves. Their biology is different, very different. If we want humans to integrate into galactic society, we need to accept this difference. A council member from the Xinthian species stood. But what about safety? What if these substances escape into general circulation? What if there is cross-contamination? That is a valid concern, Agent Rixtar acknowledged. I propose new regulations. Human food products must be clearly labeled. Human restaurants must have appropriate warnings for non-human species. Humans must complete education programs about galactic biology to understand which species can be harmed by their food. What about the humans? Another member asked. Should they not also be protected? What if they accidentally consume something harmful to them? Taehyun spoke up. Earth is already preparing databases of alien foods and their effects on human biology. We want to be good galactic citizens. We will follow safety protocols. We simply ask that you recognize our different biology and allow us to continue our food traditions. Counselor Dren stood. I propose a vote. All in favor of accepting humanity's dietary practices as a recognized biological variation, with appropriate safety measures in place. Hands, tentacles, and various appendages rose throughout the chamber. The vote was not unanimous, but it was clear. Humans would be allowed to keep their spicy food. Motion passed, Counselor Dren announced. However, I have one personal question for Diplomat Taehyun. Yes, Counselor? You mentioned that children eat spicy food. My research shows that human infants are fed bland foods initially. When do you introduce capsaicin to young humans? It varies by culture, Taehyun said. Some families introduce mild spices around age 2 or 3. Others wait until children are older. Some children never develop a taste for spicy food. So it is not required for survival? No, it is a preference. A choice, Counselor Dren nodded slowly. I think I understand now. You choose to experience these sensations. It is not about survival or necessity. It is about enjoyment. Exactly. That, the counselor said, might be the most alien thing about humans. You seek out pain because you have learned to interpret it as pleasure. That is genuinely bizarre. Taehyun smiled. We have a saying on Earth, one person's poison is another person's seasoning. An appropriate saying, the counselor agreed. Though in your case it is quite literal. The council session ended. As Taehyun packed up his samples, several council members approached. They had questions. They wanted to understand more. Some were even curious about trying very mild versions of human food. Change was slow, but it was happening. The galaxy was learning that humans were strange, spicy, and impossible to kill with their own food. And humans were learning that they needed to be more careful about what they shared at intergalactic potlucks. 3 days had passed since what everyone now called the incident. Minho and Hana had been moved to a more comfortable room, but they were still under constant observation. Cameras watched their every move. Sensors monitored their vital signs. Guards stood outside their door at all times. The door opened. Agent Rixtar entered, followed by several assistants carrying recording equipment and data pads. The agent had removed his protective suit. Apparently, he had decided Minho and Hana were not immediately dangerous. "Good morning, humans," Agent Rixtar said. He pulled up a chair and sat down across from them. "We need to have a serious conversation. Are we in trouble?" Minho asked. "That depends," the agent said, "on whether you are cooperating with us or hiding something. My investigation has revealed disturbing information about your species." Hana leaned forward. "What kind of information?" Agent Rixtar opened a data pad. His 4 hands moved quickly across the screen. "According to Earth's own agricultural records, humans do not just tolerate Capsaicin mortalis. You have been cultivating it for thousands of years. You have created hundreds of varieties. Some varieties are specifically bred to contain higher concentrations of capsaicin." "Well, yeah," Minho said. "Some people like really spicy food." "Define really spicy," the agent said. Minho pulled out his personal data pad. "Can I show you something?" Agent Rixtar nodded. 2 guards moved closer just in case. Minho pulled up a database of Earth peppers. "Okay, so the bell pepper has 0 Scoville units. That's how we measure spiciness. It's very mild. My grandmother uses these in salads." The agent made notes. "A jalapeno has about 2,000 to 8,000 Scoville units. That's mild to moderate for most humans. Kids can usually eat these." More notes. The agent's expression was hard to read. "A habanero has 100,000 to 350,000 units. That's pretty hot. Not everyone likes these." "And what about the plant from the classroom?" Agent Rixtar asked. "That looked like a ghost pepper," Minho said. "Those have about 1 million Scoville units. They're very hot. Most people find them too spicy to enjoy." Agent Rixtar's hands stopped moving. "Most people? Not all people? Some people love them," Hana added. "There are competitions on Earth. People eat super hot peppers to see who can handle the most." "Competitions," the agent repeated slowly. "You compete to see who can consume the most poison." "It's not poison to us," Minho said again. "Then what is the hottest pepper you know of?" Agent Rixtar asked. Minho scrolled through his database. "Right now I think it's Pepper X. That has about 3.18 million Scoville units." The agent's skin turned pale. One of his assistants dropped a data pad. 3 million? The agent whispered. "Yeah," Minho said. "Though some people claim to have bred hotter ones. It's kind of an arms race among chili pepper fans." "An arms race," Agent Rixtar said. "That is an appropriate term. Because we have also investigated Earth's commercial products." He pulled up a new file. "Can you explain what this is?" The screen showed an image of a hot sauce bottle. The label read, "Warning, extremely hot, use with caution." "That's just hot sauce," Hana said. "You put it on food to make it spicier." "The warning label suggests it is dangerous," the agent pointed out. "It's dangerous if you use too much," Minho explained, "or if you get it in your eyes. But it's not actually going to hurt you if you eat it normally." Agent Rixtar pulled up another image, and another, and another. Bottles with names like Spontaneous Combustion, Ring of Fire, The Last Dab, and Instant Death. "You market these products with names suggesting mortality," the agent said. "Yet you claim they are food." "It's just marketing," Hana said. "People think it's funny." "There is nothing funny about biological weapons," Agent Rixtar said firmly. Before Minho could respond, an urgent message appeared on the agent's data pad. He read it quickly. His expression changed from stern to shocked. "What is it?" one of his assistants asked. "We have found more," Agent Rixtar said quietly. "Much more." 30 minutes later, Minho and Hana stood in the station's main cargo bay. They were surrounded by security teams, council officials, and what looked like half the scientists on the station. In the center of the bay sat a human cargo ship. Its doors were open. Its cargo was laid out for inspection. "This ship arrived 4 hours ago," Agent Rixtar explained. "It came from Earth with supplies for human residents on this station. We have scanned its cargo. The results are concerning." Minho looked at the cargo. Boxes and boxes of food products, bags of rice, containers of sauce, Jars of preserved vegetables, what's the problem? He asked. A scanner operator spoke up. Her voice shook. We detected massive concentrations of capsaicin. We thought there had been a spill, a contamination, but then we realized this is all intentional. All of these products contain the substance. Agent Rixtar walked to a nearby box. He picked up a jar and read the label. Gochujang, Korean chili paste. According to our analysis, this single jar contains enough capsaicin to kill everyone in this bay. Only if you're not human, Hana pointed out. This is not helping your case, the agent said. He picked up another container. Kimchi, fermented vegetables with high capsaicin content. The fermentation process produces additional compounds that our medical team classifies as toxic. Fermentation makes it taste better, Minho said weakly. You intentionally allow your food to decompose? A scientist asked in horror. Controlled decomposition, Hana corrected. It's different. Agent Rixtar moved to another section of cargo. This container is labeled hot chicken flavor ramen. The warning says 2 times spicy. 2 times what? 2 times the normal spicy level, Minho explained. There's also a 3 times spicy version, and a 4 times version. Why? The agent asked. He sounded tired. Why would you make it progressively more dangerous? Because some people want that challenge, Hana said. A new figure emerged from the cargo ship. She was human, wearing a cargo captain's uniform. She looked confused by all the attention. Captain Yuna? Agent Rixtar called out. Please approach. The captain walked over. She was young, probably in her late 20s, with short hair and a practical expression. Is there a problem with my cargo, agent? Captain Yuna, you are transporting 40 tons of various capsaicin-based products, Agent Rixtar said. Did you not realize these substances are classified as biological hazards? Captain Yuna blinked. You mean the food? This is just normal food supplies. This is barely enough for the human population on this station for 1 month. The agent turned to look at Minho and Hana. Is she correct? Do humans consume this much regularly? Probably more, Minho admitted. A lot of human food has some kind of spice in it. Agent Rixtar sat down on a nearby crate. He suddenly looked very tired. Let me understand this clearly. Your species not only tolerates deadly toxins, you deliberately seek them out. You breed plants to produce more of these toxins. You process them into concentrated forms. You mix them into nearly everything you eat, and you consider all of this completely normal. Yes, all 3 humans said together. One of the council officials stepped forward. She was an elderly Thraxian with wise eyes and ceremonial robes. Agent Rixtar, I believe we need to expand this investigation. If humans consume capsaicin regularly, what else do they consume that we have classified as dangerous? Captain Yuna raised her hand slowly. Do you want the full list? There's a list, the official asked. Well, we didn't know it was a problem, Captain Yuna said. She pulled up her cargo manifest. Let's see. We have black pepper, which I heard is also classified as a toxin to some species. We have wasabi, that's the green spicy paste from Japan. We have horseradish. We have mustard. We have ginger, which some species find irritating. We have vinegar, which is fermented. We have soy sauce, also fermented. We have cheese, also fermented. We have— Please stop, Agent Rixtar said. He held up one hand. Please, just stop. Should I not mention the alcohol? Captain Yuna asked. Because we have a lot of that too. Alcohol? The Thraxian official asked. It's ethanol, Minho explained. We drink it socially. It's technically a poison, but in small amounts it just makes us feel relaxed. You drink poison, the official said flatly. Socially, yes. For recreation, yes. The official sat down next to Agent Rixtar. They both looked like they needed a break. I need to file a report to the Galactic Council, Agent Rixtar said quietly. But I do not know how to explain this. How do I tell them that an entire species has built its culture around consuming substances that kill most other species? You could just call us spicy, Hana suggested with a smile. No one laughed. But Minho saw a few of the guards smile slightly. Maybe some of the aliens were starting to understand. This was just who humans were. Strange, adaptable, and apparently very hard to poison. Agent Rixtar stood up. Captain Yuna, your cargo is cleared for delivery. However, all human food products must now carry warning labels for non-human species. Minho, Hana, you are both cleared of criminal charges, but you will need to attend educational sessions to teach station residents about human dietary requirements. So we're not in trouble? Minho asked. Oh, you are definitely trouble, Agent Rixtar said, but not the criminal kind. Just the absolutely bizarre kind. He walked away, followed by his assistants. The other officials slowly dispersed. Scientists took samples of various food items for further study. The medical bay was the brightest room Minho had ever seen. White lights shone from every surface. Medical equipment beeped and hummed around them. Doctors and scientists from 6 different species stood behind a thick glass wall, watching him and Hana like they were exotic animals. Minho sat on an examination table. Hana sat on another table next to him. Both of them still wore their regular clothes. On the other side of the glass, every single doctor wore full protective gear. This is weird, Hana whispered. Very weird, Minho agreed. A speaker crackled. Humans, can you hear us? A voice asked. Yes, they both said. Good. We are going to ask you some questions. Please answer honestly. Your lives may depend on it. Minho and Hana exchanged glances. They had been rushed from the classroom to this medical bay. Professor Ralvim had been taken away on a stretcher. The entire education wing had been evacuated. Students were probably still panicking across the station. A Veltorian doctor stepped closer to the glass. Her skin was pale green with worry. When did you first come into contact with Capsicum mortalis? Hana said. When I was a baby? My mom said I ate kimchi when I was really young. The doctors on the other side began talking rapidly to each other. Their voices were muffled, but Minho caught words like impossible and exposure since infancy and how are they still alive? You have consumed this substance multiple times? Another doctor asked. This one was Corellian with 4 arms and crystal-like skin. Well, yeah, Minho said. We eat it all the time. It's in a lot of our food. How much time passed before you received medical treatment? The Veltorian doctor asked urgently. Medical treatment for what? Hana asked. For the poisoning, the cellular breakdown, the organ failure. Oh, Minho said. We don't get those things. It just tastes good. The room on the other side of the glass erupted. Doctors shouted. Equipment fell over. Someone fainted. Again. Minho was starting to notice that aliens fainted a lot around humans. A new figure pushed through the crowd of doctors. This one was taller than the others and wore a uniform instead of medical gear. Even through the protective suit, Minho could see multiple badges and symbols of authority. I am Chief Medical Inspector Vor, the figure announced. I am taking charge of this situation. Humans, we need to understand what is happening. Our scans show that both of you have high concentrations of capsaicin in your digestive systems. Lethal concentrations. Yet you show no signs of distress. Because we're not distressed? Minho offered. That is not scientifically possible, Inspector Vor said firmly. We will conduct a demonstration to prove that you have somehow been misidentified. You cannot be baseline humans. You must be a variant species with special adaptations. We're pretty normal humans, Hana said. We shall see, the inspector said. 2 robots entered the medical bay carrying a sealed container. They moved very slowly and carefully. They placed the container on a table between Minho and Hana, then quickly left the room. Inside this container, Inspector Vor explained, is a sample of the plant from your classroom. We have extracted 1 drop of its oil. 1 single drop. We will place this drop on a protein sample to demonstrate its lethal properties. Through a mechanical arm, a small piece of synthetic meat was placed on a tray. The robots brought out the container again. With extreme care, a single red drop fell from a dispenser onto the meat. The meat immediately began to smoke. It turned black. It dissolved into liquid. Within 10 seconds, nothing remained but a dark stain, you see? Inspector Vor said. His voice was triumphant but also worried. This is what capsaicin mortalis does to organic tissue. Instant breakdown at the molecular level. Now do you understand why we are concerned about your safety? Minho looked at the stain where the meat had been. Okay, that's pretty dramatic. But that's not what it does to humans. Impossible, the inspector said. I can prove it, Hana said suddenly. She held up her lunch container, which security had finally returned to her. Put some of this on another piece of meat. The meat won't dissolve. The capsaicin is already mixed with other ingredients. It doesn't work like that in real food. The doctors consulted with each other in hushed voices. Finally, Inspector Vor spoke. Very well. We will attempt this demonstration. But we will also monitor you both for any signs of cellular breakdown. More robots brought another piece of synthetic meat. Hana opened her container. The smell of Korean spices filled the medical bay. On the other side of the glass, several doctors stumbled backward. "It's airborne." Someone shouted, "Seal the room. Don't let it reach us." Another voice yelled. Hana used a clean spoon to scoop up some of her rice and red sauce. She placed it on the meat. Then she stepped back. Everyone watched. Minho counted to 10 in his head. Then to 30. Then to 60. The meat did not dissolve. It did not smoke. It did not turn black. It just sat there with Korean chili sauce on top looking like food. "What?" Inspector Vor said quietly. "What is happening?" "The spice needs to be prepared properly," Minho explained. "You can't just extract the pure oil and expect it to work the same way. Humans have been cooking with peppers for thousands of years. We know how to use them." A small robot extended an arm and took a sample of the meat with sauce on it. It brought the sample back through a sealed chamber for analysis. The doctors huddled around their screens and instruments. "The capsaicin is present," the Corellian doctor said slowly. "The molecular structure is intact, but it's not causing breakdown. It's just there, mixed with other compounds." "How do you consume it?" Inspector Vor asked. He sounded like someone trying to solve an impossible puzzle. "Like this," Hana said. Before anyone could stop her, she picked up her chopsticks and ate another bite of her lunch. She chewed. She swallowed. She smiled. "See? No problem." The medical bay went silent. Every being on the other side of the glass stared at Hana with expressions of absolute horror. Then the alarm started again. "Get the emergency revival team." Someone shouted, "Prepare the antitoxin." Another voice yelled, "She's going to collapse any second." But Hana just sat there eating her lunch. Minho could tell she was enjoying the attention now. She made a point of taking bigger bites, of chewing slowly, of looking perfectly healthy and comfortable. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Hana finished half her lunch and put the container down. "I'm full now," she announced. "She should be dead," a doctor whispered. The microphone carried the voice clearly. "By every model we have, every calculation, every piece of medical knowledge we possess, that human should be dead." "But I'm not," Hana said cheerfully. "Because it's just food. Spicy food, yeah, but just food." Inspector Vor approached the glass. His protective suit made him look huge and intimidating, but his voice was small. "How is this possible?" Minho decided to try to help. "Our bodies are different from yours, I guess. The capsaicin triggers pain receptors in humans, but it doesn't actually damage our cells. We just feel heat. Some people don't like it. Some people love it. My family loves it." "You intentionally trigger your pain receptors?" the Veltorian doctor asked. "For recreation?" "For flavor," Minho corrected. "It makes food taste better." "You are telling me," Inspector Vor said slowly, "that humans deliberately cultivate a Class 9 biological hazard, process it into food products, and consume it regularly because they enjoy activating their pain response?" Minho thought about it. When the inspector put it that way, it did sound kind of crazy. Yes? The doors to the observation room burst open. A new group rushed in. These wore different uniforms. Military uniforms, security uniforms, official government uniforms with symbols of the Galactic Council. "Nobody move," a commanding voice announced. "This medical bay is now under council jurisdiction. We have reports of biological weapons in possession of 2 humans." Minho looked at Hana. Hana looked at Minho. "Does he mean my lunch?" Hana asked. "I think he means your lunch," Minho confirmed. A tall figure in an impressive uniform pushed through to the glass. He had 4 arms, gray skin, and the sharp eyes of someone who took security very seriously. "I am Enforcement Agent Rixtar of the Galactic Council. You 2 humans are being detained for questioning regarding the possession and use of prohibited substances." "It's just chili peppers," Hana protested. "It is capsaicin mortalis," Agent Rixtar corrected. "Possession of even trace amounts is illegal in 73 star systems. The Galactic Council will investigate this matter thoroughly. You will both remain here under observation." "For how long?" Minho asked. Agent Rixtar looked at the medical readings, at the container of lunch, at Hana, who was clearly healthy despite having just eaten what should have killed her. "Until we figure out what you are," he said quietly. Minho sat in the large classroom and tried not to yawn. Around him, students from 12 different planets shifted in their seats. Some had scales. Some had fur. A few glowed softly in the dim light. The Galactic Academy brought together beings from across known space, and Minho was one of only 5 humans in the entire station. Professor Ralvim stood at the front of the room. The Veltorian had 3 large eyes that moved independently, and his skin changed colors when he felt strong emotions. Right now his skin was a calm blue as he prepared the day's lesson. "Today we begin the most dangerous part of our course," the professor said. His voice was serious. "Lethal flora identification." Minho sat up straighter. This sounded more interesting than last week's lecture about soil composition. The professor pressed a button on his desk. A large metal container rose from the floor. It had warning symbols all over it. Red lights blinked on its surface. The other students leaned back in their seats. Some put on protective eyewear. "Inside this container is one of the deadliest plants in the known galaxy," Professor Ralvim continued. His skin had turned yellow with orange spots. Minho had learned this meant the Veltorian was nervous. "Please remain calm. The container is secure. Security drones are active. Emergency medical teams are standing by." Minho looked around. Was all this really necessary for a plant? The professor pressed another button. The front of the container became transparent. Inside, under bright light, sat a small plant. It had dark green leaves and bright red pods that hung down like little lanterns. The classroom erupted in gasps and chirps and clicks. A Xinthian student in the front row actually screamed. 2 Corellian students activated their personal shields. The security drones that floated near the ceiling moved closer. Their sensors pointed at the container. Minho squinted at the plant. He tilted his head. He leaned forward. That looked incredibly familiar. "This," Professor Ralvim announced, his skin now bright orange with fear, "is capsaicin mortalis, one of the most dangerous biological substances ever discovered." Minho raised his hand. The professor didn't see him. He continued talking. "A single molecule of this plant's extract can cause instant cellular breakdown in 90% of known species. Death occurs in seconds. Even breathing near the spores can cause respiratory failure and organ collapse." Minho waved his hand higher. "The plant evolved on a death world as a defense mechanism," the professor went on. "It has ended several early space expeditions. 3 research stations have been evacuated due to contamination. The Galactic Council has classified it as a Class 9 biological hazard." "Professor?" Minho called out. Professor Ralvim finally noticed him. All 3 eyes focused on Minho. "Yes, student Minho. Do you have a question?" "Is that a ghost pepper?" Minho asked. The classroom went silent. Every student turned to look at Minho. Professor Ralvim's skin flashed through several colors rapidly, which Minho had learned meant extreme confusion. What?" the professor said. "A ghost pepper," Minho repeated, "or maybe a Carolina Reaper. It's hard to tell from here, but it looks like a chili pepper from Earth." Professor Ralvim's skin had turned white. In Veltorians, this meant shock. "Student Minho, are you saying you recognize this lethal organism?" "Well, yeah," Minho said. He pulled out his data pad and scrolled through some images. "We grow these on Earth. My grandmother has some in her garden. We use them in cooking." The classroom erupted again, this time in shouts of disbelief and alarm. A Thraxian student stood up so fast his chair fell over. 2 more students activated their shields. The security drones began beeping urgent warnings. "Order!" Professor Ralvim shouted. His skin flashed red. "Order in the classroom." The students slowly settled down, but everyone kept staring at Minho like he had just said he kept black holes as pets. "Student Minho," the professor said carefully, "you cannot possibly be suggesting that humans deliberately cultivate Capsaicin mortalis, the plant that has killed hundreds of beings across multiple expeditions." "I mean, we call them chili peppers," Minho said. He was starting to feel uncomfortable with all the attention. "They're not that dangerous. They're just spicy." "Spicy?" the professor repeated. Before Minho could answer, another human voice spoke up from the back of the room. "Oh, is that what everyone is worried about?" Minho turned. Hana, the only other human in this class, was pulling something from her bag. She was a transfer student like him, and they usually ate lunch together. "Hana, what are you doing?" Minho asked. Hana held up a clear container filled with rice, vegetables, and meat. Red flakes covered everything. "I was wondering why the class was so serious today." "That's just gochujuru, Korean chili flakes. I put them in my lunch." Time seemed to slow down. Professor Ralvim's 3 eyes went very wide. His skin turned pure white. The security system went insane. Alarms began blaring. Red lights flashed. Metal barriers started dropping from the ceiling. The security drones surrounded Hana, their weapons charging. "Contamination alert," a mechanical voice announced. "Biological hazard detected, initiating emergency protocols." Students ran for the exits. Some teleported away. Others activated emergency rescue beacons. The Thraxian student fainted. Professor Ralvim collapsed behind his desk. Hana looked around in confusion. "What's happening?" Minho stood up and moved toward her. The security drones blocked his path, but he pushed past them carefully. They didn't seem to know what to do with him. "I think," Minho said slowly, "they think your lunch is a weapon." Hana looked down at her food, then at the plant in the container, then back at her food. Oh, is that what all the fuss is about? But this is just normal food." The classroom was now empty except for Minho, Hana, the unconscious professor, and a dozen security drones. The alarms continued to wail. Through the windows, Minho could see more security teams running toward their classroom. Hana, still holding her lunch, took her chopsticks and picked up a piece of chicken covered in red flakes. Without thinking about it, she put it in her mouth and chewed. The security drones all made high-pitched warning sounds. "Hana," Minho said, "maybe don't do that right now." "Why not?" Hana asked with her mouth full. "It's lunchtime. I'm hungry, and this is getting cold." Minho sat down in the nearest chair. He had a feeling this was going to become very complicated very quickly. Through the door, he could hear heavy footsteps and urgent voices. Medical teams, probably. Maybe military units. Possibly scientists. All because of chili peppers. "You know," Minho said to Hana, "I think we just started an intergalactic incident." Hana swallowed her bite of food and looked at the chaos around them. The alarms. The drones. The warning messages flashing on every screen. The armed security teams now entering the room in full protective suits. "Over-seasoning?" she asked. "Over-seasoning," Minho confirmed. A security officer in a massive hazmat suit approached them carefully. His voice came through speakers in his helmet. "Do not move. Do not make any sudden gestures. Medical teams are approaching. Remain calm." Minho and Hana looked at each other. This was going to be a very long day.